Our girl is destitute.
What conspiracy theory do you have?
You're the Feyre.
I'm the Feyre. He hates Tamlin. He's also a bit of a petty bitch.
And yet, she decides, let me just shoot my shot and see it. I'm like, girl.
Hello.
we can breathe a sigh of relief.
Oh my god. Chapter 32.
It's been a journey getting here. Oh my god.
I'm just so happy for our spoiler-free babies that we were finally able to talk about the curse. Well, as much of the curse as Feyre knows about right now, but at least we know
Right.
about the curse. We know the blight isn't real. We know,
A lot of backstory,
a
a lot
lot
of
of
history.
backstory. Our sweet serial squad, right? Like 32 was our chapter for this week. Also, apologies for the construction that's happening directly outside my window. But right, it's the chapter where Alice just like info dumps on Feyre everything.
And what an info dump. I mean, I think what's so nice about this is like, we very lightly touched upon with our spoiler-free friends, like for those who haven't read any Mass First books, like get used to some secrets
Yeah.
basically. And it's so funny, one of my Cauldron save me's, for those who haven't listened to that episode, was David just got through Crown of Midnight in the Throne of Glass series. And for those who have read it, there's a kind of a similar thing, almost like in a very different way,
Yeah.
different topic, but a very similar twist in that book that I can finally talk to him about now.
Yeah.
And so like getting this all within like a 24-hour span, like I feel like a weight has been lifted from my shoulders. I'm like, I feel so free.
You're floating. You're floating. There's so many things you could talk about now. Yeah.
Right? It's so
Yeah.
nice. Oh, and it's like, I think also what's nice is like, we've kind of had to put like the kit gloves on with the spoiler free friends. It's nice being able to like kind of let them in on at least
Yeah.
one of the big twists, because I mean, like, I would say other than Rhys being her mate, this is, I think, the other big twist of the series.
Oh, it's huge. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge twist, and it's a huge, I mean, it kicks off so many things for the series. And it explains so much of Tamlin, so much of how he reacts and responds and all this stuff. And I mean, it's the big thing for this book. Like, it's the big, but when you think about it in terms of like the rest of the series, like, this whole curse and everything is why she turns Fae. It's why she so it's really the jumping off point. I mean, going under the mountain is why she has a bargain with Rhys. It's why their like relationship even starts. So it's like so much of this is like the catalyst for a lot of the journey of Feyre. So yeah, it's really nice to get to at least talk to our spoiler-free babies of just like yes, so this has been the thing. There is no blight. It's Amarantha. Also to just like to be reminded of the backstory of Amarantha and Clythia.
I think Clythia. Yeah.
And Jurian. I also
I
love how Alice, she basically just says, but she and Jurian had their final confrontation later. And like, that's it. That's like all you really get. And I was just like, wow, so casual. Yeah. Final confrontation, just sticks his eye in her ring. No
just
big
gonna gloss
deal.
over that. Oh my god. Like, I remember getting to that point in the book, my first reading, being like, what the actual fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that is gnarly.
Yeah.
So for this episode, we're not gonna go through all the details of the curse because you all have read it. Like, you probably have your own copies of this. If you want to read it again, you can. But we are gonna like talk about like more specific things and kind of like some interesting theories or like inconsistencies. One thing This is like a very little thing. And maybe this is obvious and I just didn't catch it until this read. Because I've always thought like 7 by 7 curse, like that's such a weird number. Like, why not just round it up to 50 years, right? And then I realized, is it the 7 by 7 because there's 7 high lords?
I think so.
Okay, I'm just dumb then. Because I was like, why is it this way? And I'm like,
Well, to be
oh.
fair, I
Yeah.
really only, like, feel confidence in that answer because of
Yeah.
this read. So
Oh,
so
okay.
so, like, be
Yeah.
gentle with
Yeah.
yourself because
Yeah.
kind of like much we talked about in the spoiler-free episode, this is so much information
So
in this chapter that,
yeah.
like, it makes sense that there are things that we don't there's a lot of stuff that you just kind of, like, accept as, like, fact. You're like, "Okay, 7 by 7, cool,
Yeah.
49 years, whatever," and you just, like, move on.
Right.
Like, there's so many other things to unpack in your first, second read that, like, it does I mean, so the fact that you're even asking this question on your second one, I'm on my fourth. So, like, I
True.
never thought
Yeah.
of so,
Fair.
like, you're faster than I was. But yeah, no, I think it's for the 7 High Lords. I definitely think that
That
that's what
makes
it's,
sense. That makes
for.
sense. And it's so funny. The other thing I guess to think about is like, and this is not to discredit her at all, but like, we're getting this curse told by Alice, who is like, she was there under the mountain, sure, but like, she was a servant under the mountain. Like, it wasn't like directly happening to her, right? So,
Yeah.
like, yeah, she's gonna probably not have all the details when you think about it. The other question I had was, and it's mentioned very briefly, and maybe I'm just not remembering that they talk about this later, but she mentions on page 280 that the mountain is sacred. And I'm like,
Yeah.
why is it sacred?
I don't, um I don't remember.
Yeah.
I really don't, but it's interesting because, uh Ramiel, however the fuck you're
Yeah.
supposed to pronounce that, is also a sacred mountain.
Right.
So, I'm not like, they may bring this up later in the books,
Yeah.
and again, like, it could just be that it's one of those kinda like 7 by 7 where, like, you're so busy worrying about, like, other stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I don't quite remember why this is a sacred mountain.
Yeah.
Um, I really like, I'm, like, slightly tempted to, like, look it up and
Look
see
ahead.
if anyone has.
I mean, I have some
Yeah,
theories,
yeah.
but they're cross series theories. Ooh, that's fun. Cross series theories. So I don't want to get into it, but yeah, I'm curious. It does like there are certain things in definitely Akatar, but I would say the Massverse in general, where like in like the first book or two of a series, where it feels like she's setting up one thing and kind of just like forgets about it.
Yeah.
Like she has a tendency. Dave and I were talking about this at one point. She does this with animals. Like in both Crescent City and Throne of Glass, there's like pets that are like pretty big in the first book or two that kind of just get forgotten about
Yeah.
later on. You're like, oh right, they exist. Like nothing bad happens, but it's just like they don't really do much anymore. And I feel like there's some other stuff. So I wonder if the mountain I kind of wonder if we don't find anything out about the mountain beyond just it's sacred and that's it.
Yeah.
Um if like she was gonna set it up almost to be like a Ramiel or something and then just decided to change her mind later, you know?
Yeah. I think it's considered sacred because it was just considered a neutral ground.
Oh, so Switzerland,
Yeah.
which is ironic because of what happens there. Interesting. Interesting. Yeah, I guess because it doesn't really belong to any court
No.
territory, right? Okay. So yeah, that make okay. All right. I'll allow it.
Yeah, but I honestly do feel like there's more because now I'm getting weird remembrances of, like, because or, like, that mountains are just places of power and that, like, because
Oh.
Amarantha did that at that mountain, there's, like, like, power got sucked from it. I don't know, I
Mm.
feel like there's something I am
Well, and
completely forgetting.
also this could be all like we can find out more in a future book too.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. No, I mean, I definitely
um,
think that it's something that's, like, talked about. Like, I almost wonder if it's something that is discussed in, the next book, but because we're all so distracted by the whole Rhys Tamlin of it all that we, like,
yeah.
don't fully remember that, you know?
Right. Speaking of Tamlin, okay, and
Dude.
I wanna talk about this just lightly. before we dig into Tamlin because
Mhm.
I have some stuff to say about Tam Tam. I fucking forgot that he met Amarantha as a child, and that
Yeah.
is so stomach churning.
It's so
Like,
creepy.
it's so I mean, we already knew she was bad,
Yeah.
like, pro-slavery, killing humans, taking High Lord's power, but now also basically a pedophile.
Basically a pedophile. Like, basically just waiting till he
Yeah,
was of age.
yeah.
Like, it's
Like,
so
it's
creepy.
and I wanna say, I think there's a difference between because like, there have been arguments made, and not just with ACOTAR, but with, like, other books like Twilight, wherever you have, like, an
Mm.
eternal being who falls in love with a human, right? Like,
Yeah.
obviously, the age gap is vast,
Vast.
but I think there's a difference between, like, Rhys, who's, like, what, like, at least 300 years old plus? No, at least 500 because he was
Yeah,
in the war.
at least.
Um, falling in love with 19-year-old Feyre, who is, at least grown,
Yeah,
and Amarantha falling in love with a child.
a child.
No, even if they are an immortal child and she knows, like, Tamlin will grow up and, like, stay immortal, it's just, like, the moment you fall for them, it's like, "But they're a child. That's
Child.
so gross."
Yeah, yeah,
Like, ugh.
yeah,
Yeah, I'd forgotten that, and,
yeah, it's very
ugh.
creepy. Well, it's interesting though, because as we're talking, I'm now wondering, we know that when Alice is talking about them meeting, well, so it was during the war when they
Yeah.
met.
Oh, I thought it was after the war.
No, because it just Alice says during the war, the Spring Court allied with Hybern to keep the
Ah,
humans enslaved. So his father
yes.
was very close to the king of Hybern and to Amarantha. So Tamlin, but she says Tamlin as a child often
Yeah.
accompanied him on trips to Hybern.
And she was definitely an adult by then because she was, like, telling her sister, "Don't go with Jurian, blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah." So,
Well, and
because
yeah,
like
and in the war, she's one of his vicious general. So yes, she
right.
is old enough.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all very creepy.
Because like, even let's say, if we're gonna I think the best case scenario, right? She was, like, an older teenager, like
Right.
19,
Yeah,
right?
and
That's still
he's like 10.
who knows? That's still pedophilia.
Yeah,
Like
I mean, Alice does say that, like, she grew to desire him, but still, I
sure.
still it's still creepy. It's still creepy.
Yeah.
Still
It's
creepy.
it's giving, like, when a teacher,
Yes.
meets their student, and then the
Yes.
student does grow up and become an adult, and they get together, it's like, "Yeah, but you met that student as a kid."
Yeah, it's
Like,
creepy.
that's
It's
gross.
creepy.
Okay, now that we've gotten that out of the way, Tamlin.
Dude,
Dude.
dude. Like, I literally think I wrote, so yeah, so it's like on page 282, right? Is really where I think Ariel and I are like really talking about, of
Yeah.
where it says, so at the masquerade ball, Alice says, when all were assembled, she claimed that peace could be had if Tamlin joined her as her lover and consort.
Mhm.
But when she tried to touch him, he refused to let her near. So literally,
Yeah. I know. No, I know.
peace could be had. All he had to do was be
Yeah.
her lover.
Yeah.
And he couldn't have tried to figure something else out. Like in my mind, I go immediately to like what Rhys would do, which we already know what he's
Yes.
doing to protect his
Yes.
people. But like Rhys would have been her consort and just figured something out of like
Yes.
how to get out, or tried to kill her, or like
Yeah.
something would have been figured out. And
Yep.
like Ariel and I talked about this a little bit before we started recording, of like, when you first read this, it makes so much sense that you're like, yeah, no, fuck her. Of course he should have said no.
Right.
But in hindsight, when you like have gone through the series, or when you reread, even not knowing how Tamlin ends up, when you just
Right.
reread this chapter, you're like, wait, so you're telling me like all this could have been avoided? I mean, not all of it. Again, like we don't know how bad like the consequences of some of this like could have been, but like
Right.
a lot of this could have been avoided if Tamlin had just
Yeah.
literally didn't even really have to marry her. Consort and lover.
Okay. So that is my first thing, because for I don't know why, but through pretty much my entire first read of the series and then up until this point, rereading this book, I thought part of it was he had to marry her.
Yeah, me too.
And then when I saw, no, 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 doesn't even have to do that. I'm like, are you shitting me? Now,
Yeah.
mind you, I'm gonna do a little flip it and reverse it, right?
All
And
right.
I'm gonna devil's advocate for a
All right.
brief
Gavel,
moment.
gavel.
Gavel, gavel. If I were in Tamlin's shoes and I were like, this woman who met me as a child, right?
Yeah.
Uh, and is evil,
Yeah.
wants me to be her lover and consort, I wouldn't want her touching me either.
Yeah.
Like, that is I understand that. I think where I stop really feeling pity for Tamlin is when he knows, oh, I'm not the only one who's going to be affected by this curse. It's like my entire court, right?
Yeah.
And especially because I'm going to jump ahead a little bit to page 286. He knows about the curse at this point, right? And all it entails. Alice says, he thought that if a human girl loved true, then bringing her here to free him was another form of slavery. And he thought if he did indeed fall in love with her, Amarantha would do everything she could to destroy her, as her sister would have been destroyed. So he spent decades refusing to do it, even risk it. But this winter, with months to go, he just snapped. He sent the last of his men out one by one, and they were willing. They had begged him to go all these years. Tamlin was desperate to save his people, desperate enough to risk the lives of men, risk that human girl's life to save us. So he knows many people have been and will be hurt in the process of him trying to break this curse, right? And yet, all he has to do to break the curse, the easy way, is just to cave to Amarantha.
Yeah.
And again, this is not me saying that's fair. Like, I want to be crystal
No.
clear. Like,
No one's saying
th-
this is
we're-
a fair situation.
no, it is disgusting all around. But when you take into consideration what Rhys is doing
Yeah.
without a curse, but also, like, let's just talk about history for a second here, right? Whether we're talking about Fae history or real human history. I'm going to say millions, if not more, women have
Wow.
got into the sex trade for much less, for their own survival, for the survival of their children, for the
Yeah.
survival of their loved ones. And it's not fair by any means. Like, it's fucking horrific.
Yeah.
And yet this High Lord,
Yeah.
who actually, in theory, he would probably get his power back. And as we've talked about before, he probably could overpower Amarantha, because it's established in this chapter by Alice, she really isn't like that physically powerful.
No.
She's just cunning.
Yeah.
The second he got his power back, he could have just snapped her neck,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And in fact, that's basically what
That's
happens.
basically what happens.
Yeah. So I'm just like, my guy.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
especially knowing he waited this whole waiting decades doing nothing. Like, he starts off sending his men out. And
Right.
he's like, oh, I can't take it anymore. And doesn't do jack shit for decades. Meanwhile, Rhys is out there under the mountain in Amarantha's bed.
Yeah.
Like,
To
just to make sure she
to
doesn't find
to
Valaris.
protect Valaris. Yeah.
Like, are you shitting me?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, are you shitting
Because
me?
the only I feel like real argument you could have is that, she doesn't fully put the curse on him until he refuses her,
Right.
right? So he doesn't
Right.
fully know what him saying no is going to do to his court or whatever yet, right? Like he
Right.
doesn't know that. But I agree with you of like, because I'm wondering, like, it doesn't say anywhere in here that once he says no, he can't say yes later,
No.
right?
No.
So it's like it feels, you make a really good point of like, yeah, okay, maybe the first like 2 or 3 years you're going to try to break this curse, but
Right.
after a while,
Just do it.
just
Just do
like,
it.
because she literally does say that he would get his powers back. Like Amarantha
Right.
says that. Yeah, bro, it's really hard rereading this because you're just like,
Yeah.
"Homie." But, okay,
Yeah. Gavel, gavel.
we needed him to make this choice,
Of course. Of
right?
course.
Or else
Yeah.
this whole story wouldn't happen. Feyre wouldn't go
Right.
under the mountain. We need Feyre to go under the mountain to have well, we need Feyre to come to Prithian, right? Like, we need like,
Right.
our whole story wouldn't happen if he had made but, yes, it is very annoying
Yes.
when you're just like, "Bro, are you
From a
serious?"
s from a story
From a
standpoint,
story yeah, yeah,
absolutely.
yeah.
But from a, like, if we're putting ourselves into Prithian, right? Like,
Right.
it's like well, and also because like, the only thing I was kind of gavel-gaveling in my head was like, okay, well, like, if he, we go with this idea, he got his powers back the second he does, he kills her, then all of her little minions, like the adder and the bog, they probably, all those creatures on the mountain probably would have retaliated. But then I thought, okay, but if he got his powers back, so would all the other High Lords. And they could have
All the other like, if she's dead, then all the High
yeah,
Lords should get their powers back. In fact, that's
and
what
they're all in one
happens at the
place.
end of this book, and they're all in one place, and they would be able to, like, in theory, fight all those creatures together, right?
Yeah. It comes back to I feel like this is his nickname at this point, like just lack of foresight, Tamlin.
Oh god, he is a very reactionary male. Like,
Yeah.
he's very reactionary. He's really good at thinking about how his actions affect people once he's already made those actions, right? Like, once he has to
Yes.
sit in it and the circumstances are already happening, he's
Yeah.
really good at brooding about stuff. But
Yes.
it's the, like, beforehand, which, again, to be fair, he did not know she was gonna curse everybody.
Of course.
But I agree with you on the sense on the aftermath then there though, of like, if
Yes.
you're gonna sit with this, because also there's a part of me that is like, are you telling me that some of those servants this whole time weren't just like, can you just go fuck her, please? Like, can you
Yeah.
just go have sex with her? Because
Right?
this is like, what?
Well, let's be honest. Like, I don't think Tamlin like cares that much about his service. I think he cares enough to be like, I'm gonna pay you decently and like, make sure, like with Alice mentions like he helped her nephews get away. But like I think that's where the buck stops.
I mean, he also gave protection to Alice.
Yeah. I think it's more like from the like he still sees like there's still a class divide there, right? Like I don't
Yes.
think he does not view them like he views Lucian, certainly.
No.
Which actually brings me to I would say possibly my biggest bone to pick with Tamlin in this chapter.
Okay.
I think it's on 282. I forgot to write the page number, either 282 or 283. It's when Alice is saying, like, when she's talking about, like, Tamlin's curse, right?
Mhm.
Is when he's with Amarantha, she tries to touch him. He retracts. And she says, he said in front of everyone that night that he would sooner take a human to bed, sooner marry a human than ever touch her, which is how we get the whole, like, a human with ice in their heart has to fall in love with him curse, right?
Mhm.
Tamlin may be against slavery, but he's still a racist motherfucker. He is. It's very much giving, I know I bring this up a lot and I brought it up in the spoiler free episode of like, I feel there's a very clear allegory to the American Civil War with this book in
Mhm.
particular. It's very much giving like Northern Americans who said, okay, slavery is bad, but we're all for Jim Crow,
Right. Yeah.
like
Yeah.
they're still racist.
Yes. Yeah.
And like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's why, like, to me, it actually makes sense from a character point of view. Like, he I think he definitely views his servants more as people than he views humans as
Yeah.
people, but there's still a hierarchy in his mind of
Yeah.
people, right? Whereas with Rhys, he sees everyone pretty equally.
Yeah.
Like, the twins, I'm forgetting their name, but the
Yeah.
twin servants. Like, I can't remember if it's Feyre or Elaine. It's probably Feyre. They tell her like, "Oh yeah, no, Rhys tried to get rid of us," and we said, "No,
Yeah.
no, no, we're
Yeah.
staying." Like,
Yeah.
we love him.
Yeah.
Like, that's I don't think that's the case with Tamlin.
Well, I actually think that Farah changes his mind about humans,
Sure.
right?
Yes.
Like, so, because, this is a statement that he made 50 years ago. I'm not excusing it. I'm agreeing with you. I absolutely
Yeah.
believe that he was like very racist in this
Yeah.
time. I think that Feyre starts slowly changing his attitude towards humans, because just like we
Absolutely.
discussed in this book a lot, like her level of compassion is like so foreign to Tamlin and Lucian, right? Like they're
Yeah.
so shocked by her level of compassion and, you know, her strength and her intelligence and like all these things. But I almost feel like then it's not like he's not racist anymore. It's
Right.
almost like he's turned into just what, many of us have, I mean, what I think many like white people have had to come to terms with, and you know, I would say more presently within the last like decade maybe, is
Yeah.
this sort of ingrained learned racism because of the privilege
Yes.
that we just sort of have.
Yeah.
And I almost feel like he's now in that kind of zone where he
Yeah.
like he thinks, I kind of feel like Tamlin would be the guy of like, "Oh no, no, I love humans. My best friend's a human." Like I feel like
I
Tamlin would
I
be
voted
that.
for Obama a
Yeah,
third time if I
exact
could.
exactly. Like I feel like that he's at that level where like
Yeah.
it's a little bit better, like a
Yeah.
little bit, but it's still
Yes.
kind of there. But
Icky. Yeah.
it's interesting because, but okay. I also have another thing though of like, I also wondered if he said the human thing to like really get under Amarantha's skin
Mm.
as well, just
Yeah.
because of what happened with her sister and Jurian.
Right.
Either way, it's
It's not good.
really dumb and fucked
Yeah.
up. It's
It's probably
just
both, honestly.
yeah, probably both. It's also
Yeah.
just the I think we've said I mean, I know I've said it so many times. It's just like it's the tragedy of Tamlin, of just
Yeah.
like what a lack of foresight motherfucker. But then this curse that gets put on him is just
Yeah.
so shitty. And we
Oh,
don't even know, Farah hasn't even been told about the heart stuff yet. So like we don't even know
okay.
about that yet. And
I have some questions about that
yeah.
because I think you said it's mentioned a little bit in the next chapters
Yeah,
that
so
we haven't.
chapter 33, Alice, so we can talk about that at our next
Yeah.
episode. But yeah, like Alice does kind of, she talks about it to the point of where she sort of lets Farah know that there is another element of the curse
Yeah.
that they cannot tell Farah, and that Farah needs to like listen,
My
basically.
question with that though, because it is established in this chapter, Alice says, like, he sent you away 3 days before the curse was going to end. Then they came and got him, like, right when it ended. So or not the curse, but the 7 by 7 years.
Yeah,
So how would that all stay I mean, okay,
I don't
actually,
know.
well, I guess no one broke the curse
Right.
because no one's masks fall off either.
Right.
So I guess that just means the curse is like, I mean, but it's not permanent because Farah breaks it seems a little convenient because, like, I mean, I guess it is Amarantha's rules, so she could in theory do anything,
Yeah.
right? Like, it's her magic. Yeah, okay. I guess there is some line of logic.
Well, no, I was just gonna say, like, the one thing that I do kind of remember as we get towards the end of the book, I do remember that there is an element of this curse that kind of, the more you go down the rabbit hole, the more it's like she basically made it impossible. Like,
Right.
not just what we already know, but I think even with his like heart of stone or like whatever, because basically the only way she frees him is by stabbing him.
Right.
So it's like, was that a part of the initial thing that Amarantha told Tamlin, or was that just like the
Right.
like loophole that made it to where Amarantha is never, I mean Tamlin would never have been able to break the curse? Like there's definitely, I mean, I would honestly say a lot of this curse stuff and a lot of like the things, it's like my one bone to pick with Sarah, where I
Yeah.
just feel like there's a lot of convoluted shit in this,
Yeah.
which actually kind of brings me to the other thing that I feel like you and I still don't know the answer to.
No.
We like created an answer for ourselves in the spoiler free, but now I'm
Yeah.
feeling like I don't know if that was right or not.
Same.
Guys, fellow Surreal Squad. Okay, so the ball where everyone's powers get taken, and then the masquerade where Tamlin gets his curse on him, I always thought was the same ball.
Same.
But now, rereading it and looking at some of the Reddit boards, there's a chance it's two different balls.
Yes.
And
Well,
I am very confused.
I'm a little confused too because yeah, I always thought it was the same ball.
Yeah.
But then when you actually like break down this chapter as it kind of happened in real time as we were talking about
Yeah.
it in the spoiler-free episode, the first ball that is mentioned is like you said, the one where all the High Lords get their powers taken away
Yeah.
from them. Then Alice starts talking about on page 282 how Talon sent Lucian out to broker peace.
Right.
And then that's when he gets his eye plucked out by Amarantha and the scar and blah, 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 blah. And then Amarantha extends sort of this fake olive branch and tells Tamlin and everyone, I'm going to throw this ball, which is potentially a second ball. We're still not sure. Invites everyone. It's a masquerade, which is why everyone's masks are stuck to their face. And that's the one where she puts the curse on him.
Right.
So kind of what we had figured out for those who haven't listened to the spoiler-free episode is, there's this weird, like, why would Tamlin send Lucian out to broker peace?
Right.
Right? And if they weren't two separate balls. But then I said, like, well, Tamlin has known for, like, centuries that she's an evil woman. So maybe that's why. But
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, because it does, there's some phrasing in here that makes it sound like the first ball, she took away all the High Lord's powers, but they were allowed to leave. And then the second ball, she made them stay under the mountain.
Yeah, like that was the one where everyone is stuck.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because it's very confusing because after Alice talks about the main ball or the first the power sucking party, we'll call.
Yes.
After she talks about that, she basically says, for 49 years we've been her slaves, for 49 years we've been biding her time. Now we call her the deceiver, she who trapped the 7 High Lords, built her palace beneath the sacred mountain in the heart of our land. So
But
when did people get stuck under the mountain? Well, and also, but then on the other note of back to the argument of thinking they're two different things.
yeah.
She literally says, she told Tamlin she was in a generous mood. She'd give him a chance to break the spell she'd put upon him to steal his power. Which then to me does sound like it was two different balls.
Right.
But also, something that someone else brought up on the Reddit boards was that if she had already taken their powers, and then she asks Tamlin to be her consort, why the fuck would he want to piss her off more and say no to her?
I mean, again, lack of foresight, Tamlin.
It's Tamlin.
So it could be that, but to the point that these could be. Well, I don't know, because like Alice does mention with the first. We're just going to call it the first and the second ball for ease, right?
Perfect. Thank you.
The first ball, she says, after all the High Lord's powers have been taken away, she says for 49 years she's been biding her time, which that's the 7x7 curse. But we know the 7x7 curse hasn't been enacted until Tamlin gets his curse placed on him. Now, mind you, it could have been, she could have had 2 balls within the same year, yada yada. It is confusing though.
Well, and then also on page 285, Alice talks about, she says, my sister and I served in the summer court, and she and her mate were among those put down for spite when Amarantha first invaded.
Oh.
I took the boys and ran before Amarantha had everyone dragged under the mountain. I came here because it was the only place to go and asked Tamlin to hide my boys. He did, and when I begged him to let me help in whatever small way, he gave me position here days before the mask that put this wretched thing on my face. So I've been here for nearly 50 years watching as Amarantha's noose grew tighter around his neck.
This is, like, extra confusing because Amarantha came 100 years ago. Now, I think this is where it's, like, wording is really important because, like, when I hear invaded, right? Like, does that mean when she first arrived or when she first started her reign of terror?
See, this to me makes it sound like first ball happened, then she starts fucking shit
Mm.
up in Prithian.
Okay.
People start getting scared and being very worried,
Yeah.
right? Alice runs
Yeah.
to, and that's why I feel like she says for nearly 50 years, because that means it happened a little bit before
Right.
the 7x7.
Yeah. Okay. I'm starting to be inclined to believe it's 2 separate
Me
balls,
too.
which I now feel bad telling our, spoiler-free friends, "Oh, no, it's 1 ball."
Well, yeah, me too.
I have to do a little correction
We may have to
next
do a
week
little
with them.
correction
Yeah.
episode.
Yeah.
But yeah, just like mainly I just feel like this one paragraph with Alice really makes it seem like number 1 ball happened, bad shit went down. Tamlin sends
Lucian.
Lucian, that shit happens.
Yeah.
Then masquerade ball happens.
Right.
And then it almost feels like that ball forces Amarantha to like tighten her grip.
Yeah.
And that's when she
Which also
sucks
makes
everyone
sense.
under the mountain.
Yeah.
That almost makes more sense.
It does. You know what's so funny is, like, I think the semantics of it almost don't matter
Yeah.
because the end it still is I mean, but it's good to know, right? Like
I completely agree. It doesn't
yeah,
really
yeah.
matter if it's 2
No,
different
no, no.
balls or not. Like, it really, really doesn't,
Yeah,
honestly,
yeah.
because at the end of the day, all these fucking fairies are stuck under the mountain. Tamlin made
Right.
a really bad decision.
Well,
Um
ooh, actually, I'm gonna take what I said back because of what you said earlier that someone pointed out on Reddit that if Amarantha
Oh, yeah.
already did the whole, like, taking away the High Lord's power, why would he piss her off? But again, like, Tamlin's fucking Tamlin, and, like, it's so funny, I was gonna say this earlier, I think his lack of foresight and this makes me really think this is even more intentional than I would have thought it to be. I think it's really interesting how his power is shape-shifting into animals,
Mhm.
right? Or at least animals so far as we know. Because what do animals base their decisions on? Instinct, right?
Mhm.
And that's kind of what Tamlin does versus Rhys, who his power is are shadows, right? And
Right.
shadows to me feel more like intellectual, like, things are hidden in the shadows. So he's like good at like keeping things secret and
Right.
whatnot. I think it's why he has more foresight than Tamlin. So I think like it's a good example of like her writing, right? Of
Yeah.
like the way that these two men are portrayed in terms of their powers are really indicative of how they navigate life and navigate the politics
Yeah.
of being high lords.
Yeah.
And this could be a perfect example of like if these were two separate balls and Tamlin already knew Amarantha was pissed off, rather than having the foresight like I think Rhys would have of like, hey, don't piss her off even more. He's going with his instincts, which is
Yeah.
this woman is evil. Uh, Not for nothing. She fucking, checked me out as a fucking child.
Yeah.
Get the fuck away from me. And I'm going to say something really mean to her to like knock her down a peg. And
Yeah.
then it ends up fucking everyone over.
Well, but if we're thinking that these are 2 different balls,
Yeah.
then by this point, his power is already diminished. Not only his, but all the other
Right.
7 High Lords' powers are already diminished.
Right.
So, people are already fucked over.
Yeah.
But I think it goes along actually with what you're saying with instincts because
Yeah.
it almost feels like this level of pride of like, "No,
Yep.
you've already sucked us of our power and now you're going to try to get me to be your lover?" Absolutely. Like, what? And just so I can
Yep.
save myself? No, fuck
Hmm.
you. Like, that feels a little
Par for the course for Tamlin.
yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah.
uh
Oh,
wow.
Tamlin,
I know.
like it's I don't know. I don't like, I still have a level of empathy for him.
Yeah, I mean, this curse is fucking brutal. Like,
Oh, I mean, like you
Jesus.
said, like she made it impossible,
Oh,
right? Like
it's
she
like
really made it impossible. But it's I think what I keep coming back to is he had almost 50 years
yeah,
to figure out. All he had to do was just pretend,
yeah,
basically. He didn't really need to be her consort.
yeah,
He could have just said, "I'll fucking do it."
yeah.
She gives all the powers back, and then he just, like, caps her fucking
Kills
ass.
her.
Like,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
know?
It almost feels like he, like, decided to just, like, double down. To
Yeah.
just it almost feels like he got more stubborn
Yeah,
over time.
completely. One thing, slight subject change,
Yeah.
but one thing just in terms of actually the particulars of this curse I wanted to bring up is on page 283. This is when Alice is against explaining the curse. Um, she says in regards to, the human girl that Tamlin has to woo. The girl can only be brought here to be courted if she killed one of his men in an unprovoked attack. Killed him for hatred alone, just as Jurian had done to Clythia, so he could understand her sister's pain. So we know she's doing this to get across to him, to Tamlin. This is what Jurian did to
Yeah.
Clythia. Her logic is very flawed,
It's so f
Amarantha's,
yeah, it is.
because Clythia was not like Jurian did not attack Clythia in an unprovoked manner. Clythia was enslaving people.
Well, Clythia was his mortal enemy,
Yes.
right?
That's
Like,
not
yeah,
unprovoked.
it's not unprovoked. But I mean, it
No.
also it shows I think it shows the madness of
Yes.
Amarantha, right? Because like when we're with her later, right, we're like, this bitch is crazy. Like she is not,
Yes.
and it also shows the whole thing of like a villain never thinks they're the villain, right? Like
Exactly.
they never think that they're the ones in the wrong. And she
No.
is never mentally going to paint her sister as a villain either,
No.
right? So,
Oh, yeah.
of course, and as we talked about it in the spoiler free portion, no one in the Clythia Jurian story are good characters. Like,
No.
it's all horrific. It's horrible what
Yes.
Jurian does to Clythia. It's horrible who Clythia is in general. So,
Yes.
like, it's not a feel good story about just some real good Samaritans, right? Like, it's not a
No.
good story. But I agree. I hadn't thought about it in that way of like, this is very flawed logic because
Yes.
neither Clythia or Jurian, neither of them were unprovoked by the other.
No. And mind you, like, I literally my next note after I wrote that note was like, don't expect Amarantha to be logical about this, but still, like,
Right.
it's just more of like I think what's funny to me is like she there is this evil genius within her,
Yeah.
right? Of like, I mean, again, this curse is fucking insane. Like the layers of it
Yeah.
are just like wild. And it's like, okay, you have the capacity to come up with this convoluted as fuck curse, but not see that your own logic is flawed. Like, come on.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to me it turns into the kind of idea of where like you you make things fit so they
Right.
fit, right? Like you're
Yes.
forcing that puzzle piece in because you want it
Yes.
to. You know,
Yes.
Amarantha is very scary.
So scary.
Like I
And
just
like,
like forgot like how fucked up.
well, and I think it's funny because, like, the other, like, I would argue the main big bad of the series is really Highburn,
Well,
right?
yes,
Because
yeah.
we get him for 2 books as a big
Yeah.
bad. Um, so I think we kind of all forget just how fucked up Amarantha is in comparison.
Yeah.
And I think with Highburn, no, this isn't to say he's like less evil than her because like he's an evil motherfucker, but like there's, like, weirdly some more logic to his evilness, I think, in a lot of ways.
Yes, he's like less scary
Yeah.
because there is like the dude just he wants power and he wants slaves back.
Yeah.
Okay. Amarantha,
Horrible, but
horrible, but like, all right,
yeah.
got it. Amarantha, it's like, you know, she wants power, but you're kind of like, Is it just because you want absolute power? But we
Yeah.
also find out that she she models Under the Mountain after the Night Court.
Yeah.
So there's this kind of level of, like, obsession that she has with things too, and so you're kinda like, "What is it that you want? Is it just absolute power?"
It's
Yeah, she's scarier because she's harder to pin down.
I think that's it. It's funny because like, what popped in my head was there's a Halsey album called "If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power" or something like that.
Mhm.
Like, and I think that's kind of it, is, like, this woman feels so unloved, right? Like, she lost her sister,
Yeah,
who, like, let's be honest, is probably the only person who really loved her. Tamlin won't touch her.
yeah.
She can get Rhys, but I think probably deep down she even knows Rhys isn't in love with her.
Yeah, well, because she clearly very, like, never fully trusts him.
Right.
Yeah.
So I think it comes like Hybern, I think he just is I think he's just a gross politician
Right.
when it comes down to it.
Totally.
Whereas Amarantha, well, obviously a politician in her own right. There's just something more to it. It's like she's just desperate, I
Yes.
think.
Yes, yes. I think you found it. I think you found it.
Yeah.
It's the desperation that is
Yeah.
extra scary.
Yeah. It's I hate to say it, it's giving Donald Trump.
It is.
You could tell that man never got what he truly wanted. Like, mommy and daddy issues up the fucking wazoo. Like, no one in that family loves him, right?
Yeah,
Including his own offspring. And he makes our lives hell for it, right? And
right.
I feel like Amarantha is like the same thing in a
Yeah,
lot of ways. Is like she never got love. The one love she did have, her sister, is centuries gone at this point.
yeah.
Um, yeah, it's really interesting. I think there's like I don't want to say it's ickier than Hybrid. In a weird way, there's a different level of like if I'm really extending my empathy, there's like a level of like that is sad,
Yeah,
right? Whereas Hybrid's just like, oh God, you fucking
yeah, yeah,
suck.
yeah. You're just gross. Yeah,
Yeah, but then you remember all the things of
yeah,
like, she has Reese's sex slave,
yeah,
pedophilia, shit like that, and you're like, "Oh god, no, fuck you."
yeah. Well, I mean, it's funny because we have actually talked about this in the past of how, like, there
Oh,
is a
yeah.
level of Amarantha that you can kind of.
You see how the monster was made,
Yes,
I
yeah,
think.
exactly.
Yeah,
There's, like, a level of empathy that you can
yeah,
have of where,
yeah,
like, she is just trying to kinda, like, create her own thing,
yeah.
but bitch is fucking evil. Like, she's just it's she's
Evil.
just so she feels very mentally unstable. Um, and in the scary, like, you should probably not be amongst others
Well,
kind of
in
thing.
the very, like, Game of Thrones Mad King
Yes,
way.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I really hope, again, like we've said before, we are Tamlin Redemption arc truthers on this podcast, and I really hope if we get that book or a book similar, along similar lines, I really hope we get more backstory about Amarantha because I think that'd
Mm,
be so fascinating. I know there's a really big theory out there. I don't agree with this theory,
yeah, I don't
but
either.
there is a theory that Tamlin's mate is actually Amarantha.
Yeah, I don't know.
Um, there's a few reasons, and I'm not going to go into. I don't believe that, and I don't like it either.
Yeah, I don't
Just
either.
it feels very not victim blamey, but like it just feels gross, honestly.
Yeah, I I don't know. I don't feel like there's a lot of proof to it, to be honest, either.
Agreed. The only thing I've seen is like I think when she dies, he like cries out or something like that. But I'm pretty sure he does like his favorite is dead.
Yes.
Like so regardless, I do hope we get some more backstory. Well, part of me wants more backstory, but then part of me is like, I think the horror filmmaker in me is like, oh, but she's so much scarier if we don't get backstory. It's like the whole
Yeah.
I personally, this is a little 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 revealing about me. I fucking hate the Rob Zombie Halloween remake. 1, because there's a very unnecessary rape scene in it, but 2, uh, you get Michael Myers' backstory,
Mm,
and it's, like, just really sad, like,
yeah,
his mom was a stripper and his stepdad beat him, and
yeah,
you're kinda like, "Okay, this makes him less scary."
yeah.
Like
Now I actually have sympathy for him, and I don't really
exactly.
want that. Yeah.
No, it's like, I want just, like, the fucked up Michael Myers who's just, like, murdering teenagers and we
Yeah.
don't know why,
Yeah.
like, that's terrifying,
Yeah.
and so, yeah, that part of me is like, "Oh, but maybe Amarantha being mysterious is kinda better for that
I
reason,"
was gonna say
so
it is like I think I'd dig, uh I think I would enjoy getting more backstory on her, but I do I agree with you. I kind of love
yeah,
this idea of like, no, she's just this bad character
yeah,
that, you know,
yeah.
is super fucked up and let it just sort of live in that
Yeah.
realm.
Again, I support women's rights and wrongs,
Yeah, exactly,
so
exactly. Yeah, like let's just let her be bad and let's just
yeah.
leave it at that. Yeah.
Speaking of bad, and we probably shouldn't go too into this because we did in the spoiler-free episode, but, like, my god, Alice. Like, this is the part I couldn't say in the spoiler-free
Mm,
episode.
mm.
We talked a lot about, like, there was no way that Fairy could have known really any of this.
Yeah.
Like, she just couldn't. I think the other reason Alice laying into I mean, she literally calls her stupid, stupid
Yeah.
girl. The other reason it pisses me off is I'm like, "Alice, you know damn well this girl has fallen in love with a guy who fucking used her.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit if he fell in love with her, like, in the process. He used her."
Yeah.
And, like, you can't even just think of that? Like
Well, I mean, I think Alice has some pretty blind loyalty to Tamlin, and, like,
Yeah,
I think there's an element of that there. I also think
absolutely.
that they're all still pretty racist towards her being human. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
like, she says a lot about, like, her, stupid human heart and, like, all these things, and, like, she is so blindly loyal and loving of Tamlin that I just feel like Alice just, like, is not, and it's so, like, I love Alice, but she is so annoying
Yeah.
in this chapter because
Oh
she's,
my
like,
god.
it's just so frustrating that she keeps, like, it's like I said in the spoiler-free episode, literally in the same paragraph, Alice is like, "You're such an idiot, how could you not know?" And then she's like, I didn't know," and she's like, "Yeah, you couldn't have known." And you're like, "Okay, what are we doing here?" Like, this is
Right.
extremely hypocritical, like, does Alice realize how much information she just dumped on Feyre?
Right.
And then secondly, I had a thought of realizing this comes back to the whole compassion thing.
Yeah.
Fairies are not brought up with a shit ton of compassion. I mean,
That's
maybe in
so
the summer
true.
court a little bit more because of just
Yeah.
like some of the feelings that they have, or like maybe lesser fairies have slightly more compassion than like the high fae do.
Right.
Just like it feels like this level of compassion, it does not extend to other races. Like it
No.
just doesn't, because it's just
No.
like the amount of information that you're dumping on this human girl
Yeah.
who like literally months ago didn't even know half of this shit even existed.
Right.
And you're like pissed at her. It's like, no, no. This feels like the crazy mother-in-law who, like, thinks her
Yeah.
baby boy does no wrong and doesn't
Yes.
understand if the girl, like, is mad at him or something. Like, this is what
Right.
that feels like, you know?
Well, and I think what's so funny is, like, to me, after everything Farah has just been told, and then how she's been treated by Alice, has every right in the fucking world to be like, "Deuces, I'm going home." Like, I mean,
Yeah,
first off, like, I mean, I know obviously what happens in the rest of the series, so, hindsight's 2020, but,
right.
like, if this were me, I'd be like, "Okay, so what you're telling me is I was baited into killing a fae, right? Risking my life, kidnapped from my family, so that a dude could pretend to fall in love with me." Because also, I would be questioning at this point, does Tamlin actually fucking love me? Or did he just tell me that he loves me because of this curse, right?
Mhm.
Then get sent home right when I'm starting to feel like this is my home. then come back only to be told, "Hey, guess what? You were supposed to break this curse, even though there was no way for you to know, you stupid fucking human. And guess what? Can't break the curse anymore because the 7 by 7 like years, those are over."
Yeah.
Who wouldn't go home? Like, and I say this with full respect for our girl,
Yeah.
but you have to be a little delulu to think, "I'm just gonna march under that mountain."
Well, I
And
mean, yeah, there has to be a level of delusion there, mainly just because you're a human going into this extremely
yeah.
powerful person's like lair, basically.
Yes.
But you also have to remember this is someone who has madly been she has
Oh,
fallen madly in love with this
love
man,
is
male.
blind.
And also, gavel gavel, he sent
Yeah.
her away.
Yeah.
I think him sending her away is the ultimate proof of the fact that he
Yes.
loves her.
Yes.
And Alice, does, and I brought it up in the spoiler free, but Alice does mention how he's very aware that this bringing of this girl here is kind of putting her into another form of slavery and how that was
Yeah.
really difficult for him. I mean, I'm with you. This is a lot, but I would also argue that I don't know personally if I would be able to like separate all of those things if someone had just told me all of this. I
That's fair.
honestly think that I think that I especially if this is someone that I'm in love with, I think that I
Yeah.
would be like, what an awful position that he was put into.
Yeah.
And oh my gosh, how crazy that we actually did end up falling in love with each other,
Right.
and him sending me home, because she even kind of has that quote at the end where she's like, but he had fallen in love with me despite all of that,
Mm.
known I'd loved
True.
him and let me go with days to spare. Like, I think that I would probably be in the slightly delusional space with Feyre of just like of holy fuck, what an awful thing. Oh my god, I see why he brought me here, but wow, we did actually end up falling in love. Oh shit. Like, I think a lot of the stuff that you're pulling apart, I don't think I would have been able to do that in the moment. You know what I mean? I
That's fair.
that feels like you're sitting in a chair with your tea
Yeah.
months later being like, you know, like that's what that
Yeah.
feels like to me, but like that's just me. But I mean her overall like, yeah, I'm just going to go now
Yeah.
is
I'm like, "You don't wanna sleep
insane.
on it? You don't wanna
Yeah.
just, like, take a little nap?"
Just take a little nappy poo and think about
Yeah.
this for a second. I think the one thing though is that like that isn't within Farrah's character. I think what we've already
No.
learned about who Farrah is, because we even talked about it in the spoiler free about how it's crazy how there's a shift by the end of this chapter where she's asking all these questions. She's trying to figure out if she can get allies under there. She's trying to figure out
Yeah.
like, you know, who like, can they kill Amarantha? Can they? Like, she's
Right.
planning. Girl is
Yeah.
planning. So, I think who we've already been given of who Feyre is, this is very on par, right?
No, you're so right. And look, if nothing, she stays consistent,
If
right?
nothing, consistency,
Yeah.
you know?
I mean, I think that's
Consistency.
why it's so interesting, and I'm so curious to see what's gonna happen with her character in the next books, like, Frost and Starlight, she's like, "I'm settling down," which, like, to be fair, I'm like, "Yeah, you've lived, like, several lifetimes in the past, what, 2 years? Like, I no wonder you wanna just have a kid and, like, live by the river." Like,
Yeah.
but it is I'm curious to see if Feyre's at all gonna get, like, antsy again, kinda like she did in the next book.
I mean, I think part of the reason why she gets antsy with Tamlin is just because
Yeah.
Tamlin's not her mate. I think,
Sure.
you know, because she does get antsy technically in Frost and
Yeah.
Starlight, and that's why she opens up a studio.
Right.
Yeah, she opens up that studio and so she's painting and she's teaching and she's helping and she's like, I think we've already seen her a little bit antsy. Um, I think it's just Farrah finding that the answer to her antsiness isn't necessarily like fighting. I
True.
think the answer to her antsiness could just be, like, continuing to find ways to, like, help Valeris and help people,
Yes.
you know? But it's an interesting question.
Yeah. I think I'm thinking, like, more a little down the line of, like, maybe once Nyx is a little bit grown,
Right, right.
like,
Yeah.
like,
Empty
mama's gonna get
nester.
out there. Yeah, exactly. I totally see, like, her, Mor, and Amarin, like, going on, like, a fucking road trip and,
Yeah,
like, fucking shit up, you
yeah,
know? Like,
yeah.
and, like, like, Nyx being like, "Mom, you
Mom.
can't just, like, go fucking Leroy Jenkins on us."
Yeah, like, "Mom, please, can you please stop fucking dad in the sky? Please."
I that poor child, because you know he's gonna grow up
Oh, yeah.
with those
Oh,
stories of
yeah.
people being like, "I was there when you were conceived
Yeah.
in the sky."
In the sky.
Did you know your mother gave your father a blowjob in a war tent right
Yeah.
before we went to battle? Like,
God, Ariel loves this so much. I love how,
I
like,
will
you
never
bring
get
it
over
up,
it.
like, anytime you can. It's so
It's so
funny.
it's just so it's such a like, I think why I love it so much is I get the message. I
Yeah,
get
yeah.
the message behind
Yeah.
it of, like,
You just
we
love the
gotta find
visual.
joy. We gotta find joy in the hard
Yeah.
moments, but, that their form of joy is just, giving a little BJ
Yeah.
with being surrounded by,
Dying
your
people.
warriors,
Yeah.
dying people,
People
like,
literally dying. Yeah.
I would think it would kill the mood, but, I'm not gonna ick anyone's yum.
I mean, it's the fervor of wanting to feel alive, you know,
Oh my god.
on that note.
On
Yeah, I
that
was gonna say, I don't
note,
really have more to, like, talk about really for
no.
this chapter. I'm just excited to get under the mountain and get to these fucking trials. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait. I can't wait.
Truly. The only thing I had left, and it's like a very little quote,
Mm,
is on page 289. It's these quotes, these foreshadowing quotes always
mhm.
give me a good giggle. Um, Feyre says, "I don't believe in fate, nor do I believe in some ridiculous cauldron." And I'm like, "You best start believing, girl, because you will be
Wow.
taking a little nosedive into that cauldron at some point." Or I guess not you, but
She
your
doesn't.
sisters will be.
Yeah,
Your
but
sisters will be.
well, that is hilarious foreshadowing actually. Because
I
the
know.
fact that she even says I don't believe in it. You're like, "Girl, it's real. Like, you get face to face with the fucking cauldron. Like, you help, like, put it back together.
You
Like,
guys kinda have beef later
it's
on.
your fault that it is back together, actually. So, sucks to suck. Like, guess what, homie?
Ugh,
That's hilarious, actually.
the
Oh, wow.
hubris of man, am I
The
right?
hubris of man. Oh, wow.
So, next week, we're gonna be covering chapters 33 through 34, which
Mhm.
will take us, I think, up right before the first trial, I wanna say.
Yeah, well, me and Amarantha, I don't know if the first anyway, we're getting
Close. We're getting
close. We're
close.
getting damn
Yeah,
close. Yeah.
exactly. In the meantime, you can rate, review, and subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple iTunes, and YouTube. We're still we're a youngling podcast, you could say. So help us grow into a big, beautiful warrior fae and get the word out. Help us by, rating and reviewing really helps. Telling your friends about us really helps. Also, following us on TikTok, Instagram, and Blue Sky at Cauldron Save Us Pod really helps. We've done a few fun ones lately that
Mhm.
that aren't just like podcast clips. And if you know the answer to whether or not this is one or two different
Yeah.
balls, please write us in at
Please let us know.
cauldronsaveus
Yeah.
at gmail.com because yeah, I still don't know. I feel
Yeah.
more confused, I think, now than ever.
Me too. Me too. I keep going back and forth in my brain of, like,
I know,
what's
right?
yeah. Wow. Well, yay.
Yay.
I'm so glad we're getting under the mountain. It's my favorite
Yeah.
part of this book, so
So close.
Thanks for coming along, Bibbis, and as always, you're welcome.
And we're sorry. Bye, everyone.
Bye.